And we welcome you in tonight. A statement from pilot Flying J today reads like this. After the day's happenings in court, we are very disturbed and appalled by the extremely offensive and deplorable comments recorded over 5 years ago involving a small group of former sales employees. This kind of behavior is reprehensible, not tolerated, nor reflective of the guiding principles of pilot Flying J, and does not represent the values of the dedicated 28,000 team members that we have today. As soon as the company was made aware of these tape recordings, immediate action was taken. The employees who participated were held responsible and are no longer with the company. No current team member of pilot Flying J was present in this or participated in this incident. So a lot to unpack on this story, and again, we thank you for being with us. Join us to make sense of it all and put it into perspective. Former federal prosecutor Dean Villori and journalist Afi Scruggs, who has worked in Tennessee. He's from Tennessee, right?
I'm from Tennessee. I haven't worked there.
Okay, worked for the Plain Dealer and many other publications. Right. Dean, an interesting day in court today because the trial is under the charges of a rebate fraud.
Right, money, a financial crime in federal court, right?
But the tape today was played of these executives at a lake house meeting, and it involves, racial content and very, very vile and despicable, contents, what the judge said. What was going on?
So some interesting legal strategy unfolded, right? And from the defense perspective, maybe a mistake representing these defendants is what we saw. And, what is the relevance here of these terrible words and the contents of the tape to the money laundering and the financial crime that they're being prosecuted for? That's the big question that everybody wants to know. And, what happened and how it unfolded is very, very interesting.
Afi, it plays, let's get the landscape in two areas. Okay. How does it play in Tennessee, the days happening in court? And how do you think it plays in Cleveland? Because remember now, the whole trial has nothing to do with the Browns.
Well, I don't know how.
Let's start in Tennessee.
I don't know how it plays in Tennessee. I looked, did some research, and I went to a couple of newspaper sites there, and they're just reporting it as spot news. Mm-hmm. I can tell you as a Tennessean, though, that's a very conservative part of the state. That's the East Tennessee, the kind of Appalachian part of the state. And when I heard it, I kind of wondered, well, will that make that much difference? Were they aiming for Tennessee, or were they aiming for a bigger perspective, especially given some of the things that have been going on nationally with the hashtag #MeToo and Black Lives Matter, those kinds of things?
Yeah, would you agree, though, here in Cleveland, you must separate church and state, I think, in a sense here. You have to separate the fact that the Cleveland Browns, that the Haslams own, they had nothing to do with this whole story.
I don't think you can.
Really?
I don't think you can.
Why?
I went to listen to the David Allan Coe song.
Right. But again, now the Cleveland Browns organization.
And I understand that, but I think when you're talking about racial issues of this sort, you have a bleed. And so even though
So you're talking about reality, there's a bleed.
I think reality. I agree with you that I myself question the relevance. I mean, why were you introducing this? But I think the PR of it is going to be very, very damaging toward the team.
There have been a number of calls in the 3 months of the trial so far, which has been at a very, very slow pace. But there have been calls for mistrial already. Was the door opened up a little bit today?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that the judge evaluates when they allow this evidence in is the probative value and the prejudicial effect. It's a balancing test, right? Did the admission of this evidence today and its prejudicial effect or potential to prejudice the jury to hold that against the defendants and now become unfair, did that outweigh the evidence being allowed in? So the cry for maybe a mistrial, the cry for wrongdoing, even the potential for appeal now exists.
Well, for instance, there are sales executives, okay, and there are some people that weren't involved in this meeting at all who are on trial, and they're saying, why are we lumped into this tape?
Right.
Because it's being played for the jury, and we are one, it seems, sitting at the defense table.
Right, and it seems that the corporation is paying everybody's legal defense bills, so they're all lumped in together. Now they're all going to try and separate themselves and distance themselves from these 2 or 3 people that actually, are caught on tape saying these despicable things.
The owner has come out. Jimmy Haslam came out right away. In fact, I was surprised a few weeks ago, but I think it was important that he did it at a press conference under a completely different topic, announcing a new general manager of the team. And he came out and he, said that was deplorable, that tape, which I thought was interesting because he really was, staying off the record as far as the trial is concerned. Did that surprise you at all?
No. That's what I would expect them to do. Of course, it's deplorable, but the damage has already been done. And what really stuck out in my mind was he kept on saying, nobody at that meeting works for us now.
Right.
But
well, that's his disappointment in talking to him. Yeah, I mean, his disappointment is that he had people like that working for him.
But there is no way you could be in East Tennessee and not know who David Allan Coe is and the kind of music that he produces.
Well, I mean, I'm going back to the executives being in the meeting, the executives who were in the meeting, and the whole rebate situation.
Yeah,
he's saying I'm disappointed that I have people like that. Why is this going so slowly? Is it because of the judge? Is it because of all the recesses? Or is that the way these trials go?
That's the way these trials go. Remember, there were dozens of employees that either pled in agreement, got immunity. All that is building the case for the prosecution to present all of its evidence. This is a very complicated, with probably 10,000 or more exhibits to produce, and you have to go through them all methodically. It's not unusual for trials to take 6, 8, 12, 20 weeks.
Real quickly, and I'm sorry, it has to be real quickly. What will the defense's case be? When they get their shot at the plate and take their swings at it, what will their defense be?
So the interesting thing that we don't know whether or not they're going to put these defendants on the stand and have them testify. And if they do, they're going to have to rebuild this character back up to what it was at the opening statement, Mark, when they said they were great businessmen and too smart to make these types of mistakes and wouldn't take these risks. So you're going to, if the defendants testify, which I think they now have to, right? And if they do, the defense is going to have to build their character way back up to overcome now the damage that was done here today.
Let me interject.
Real quickly,
that might be true, but the PR damage to the leadership of the Browns is done.
To the Browns, really?
Yes.
You really think so?
Yes.
To the Browns?
Yes.
Not just Pilot Flying. There's not a separation of Pilot Flying J and the Browns.
In Cleveland, it's the Browns.
Well, thanks for your opinions. Afi, Dean, thank you very, very much. Sure.